Brought to you by 1AAuto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet.
Hi, I'm Mike Green. I'm one of the owners of 1A Auto. I want to help you save time and money repairing and maintaining your vehicle. I'm going to use my 20 plus years experience restoring and repairing cars and trucks like this to show you the correct way to install parts from 1AAuto.com. The right parts installed correctly. That's going to save you time and money. Thank you, and enjoy the video.
In this video, we're going to show you how to replace the rear hatch pull-down motor on this 1986 Chevy Camaro Iroc-Z. Same as any 82 to 92 Camaro or Firebird or Trans Am formula. And the only tools you'll need are a Phillips screwdriver, a flat blade screwdriver, and a 12mm socket and ratchet or a wrench. Okay, a properly working hatch on one of these cars. You put it down, nice and easy, and then the motor sucks it down. And then when it pops up, you can see right here, that's coming up. Okay, first flat blade screwdriver. There's 4 of these plastic pins. You can see I've already taken the trim out of this side. It's not necessary to take that piece of trim out, it's just something I did in a previous video. Okay, Phillips screwdriver, there's 2 screws on top. Okay, we'll fast forward through removing those screws. Okay, and then before I can actually take this light out, just gently pry out one side. It comes out like that. And then just pull the connector off. It has a couple little ears. You want to gently pry those because this is usually pretty brittle. Gently pry and pull at the same time. Okay, that light comes off. Okay, the switch is still hooked up. So I'm just going to pull the switch connector right off. Okay, there's the switch connector. And this can stay just like that. Looking closer here, here's the pull-down motor. Okay, and 1A Auto, we sell a new pull-down motor assembly with the housing. We also sell the housing on its own, and generally if the motor burns out when you lower or pop your trunk lid, you won't hear any noise. What else can happen is the plastic housing can break, and when that breaks usually you'll hear a noise and a clicking or grinding noise, but if you're hearing the noise that means the motor's working and probably your housing's broken. But either way, the next step to get this apart is take an 11mm socket with ratchet, and there are 3 bolts over here. There's 2 right close to each other right here, and then 1 further down here. We'll remove those. Okay, and we'll just speed it up here as all I'm doing is undoing those bolts. You can see as we're removing those, things are loosening up. Once you remove those, you can pull your motor out and this whole assembly can slide down and out. And then what I would tell you to do is take these plastic things off and put them aside because they will fall off. Okay, and a better term for the plastic things are plastic bushings. Okay, you can see even on mine, one is broken. If just one's broken, you're probably okay. It's enough to slide on. Okay, now what you want to do is flip this around. Okay, actually, before you do that, actually, probably one of the first things you should do is disconnect the motor here. Just pry up on a little tab and disconnect there. Okay. Flip it up and over. Okay. And there's a Phillips screw right here that goes into the motor, and you can actually see my housing right here is cracked right around that screw, which is kind of the beginning of a problem. Okay, so remove this Phillips screw. And now back to your regular screwdriver. There's a little tab here you pry out on and push this whole housing off. Okay, and what that now enables is there's two bolts on top here that you need to remove. Okay, so there's your housing out, or your motor assembly out. Okay, if you're just going to replace your plastic housing, it simply pulls off like that, and your new one goes on. Okay. Or obviously if you're going to put your new motor on, then you just bolt it in place. I'm going to use a new housing. My motor is working fine for now, so I'll put a new housing on with the existing motor. I've got it upside down. You want to put the motor on. Okay, make sure that this goes on and lines up there, and then you might have to just kind of force it on there a little bit. Looks like it went on okay. Start this bolt here. And when you first put these bolts in, you will hear a little bit of a cracking and feel a little bit of cracking sound. That's the bolts threading their way into the plastic. You're not breaking anything. That's just how they work. Okay, so we'll fast forward through putting that bolt in the rest of the way, and then start that other bolt that goes up and in the same way, and tighten it up. Okay, so now you want to take this, and it has to go into the casing here on this side. Okay, as well as onto the motor so that it clips down on. Okay. Now we can put our Phillips screw back on. Okay, I'll fast forward as I put that screw in, and just a note, this screw does thread itself as well, and it's probably one of the tougher screws to get in. You'll see me change position a little bit to try and get some more leverage on it. Okay, grease up the tracks with some white grease. Okay, now you want to put these bushings back on. Oops. Okay, and they go, there's a groove in them. The thinner side goes out. Okay. And then the most fun part is actually getting it into the tracks with those all intact. So make sure these upper ones are on there well. This guy already wants to fall off. And put my upper ones on there. They're going in nicely. My lower ones on this side are fine. Got this broken one on this side. Do my best to get it right up in there. Okay. And once they're in, it slides nicely. Okay, so I'm going to push it up into place and then start our bolts that hold the motor. One. And now we'll speed up here as I start the other two. Then I slowly tighten them up. And when you get them tight, you want them snug or firm. You don't have to tighten them up. You don't want to over tighten them and break the plastic housing. Okay. Plug that in. Okay, I'm really going to speed it up here as I connect that switch, and then just make sure the harness for the light's through, put that up into place, put those two Phillips screws back in, then make sure that those pins are back in, hook up the light.
We hope this helps you out. Brought to you by www.oneauto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet. Please feel free to call us toll free 888-844-3393. We're the company that's here for you on the internet and in person.